let me tell you a story of what happens apparently routinely for people who work in the Toronto Transit Commission. Right now, I don't want to go to work today. So I know that my friend Andrew needs some overtime. And my other friend, Kosei, because we have to sort of be part of this, has seniority over Andrew. So what I will do is I will phone in sick. And what will then happen is there is a procedure about whom you have to contact an order in order to get that position filled. They will call Kosei, who will not pick up his telephone. Having not picked up his telephone, they will now phone Andrew, who will now come in and do my shift at a time and a half. Kosei on Monday will determine and learn that he who had seniority over Andrew didn't get the position. He will grieve that because he didn't have the opportunity, and they will pay him as well. So now what we've got is instead of paying, is this not stunning? And why, seriously, but why is this not an issue that is brought forth in every negotiation? It just seems to me absolutely stunning that the people who we are paying for are so wasteful. And this, by the way, is why why the government can't, with any credibility, go back and ask for higher taxes. Because I think the average citizen simply doesn't believe the money is going to be well spent. I think there was a very, very different ethic in the year 1950. By the way, when they built the subway in 1950, which is also very interesting, something, again, we haven't seen in a long time, it was put to a plebiscite of the people of Toronto. Do you want to have a subway line? And if you want to have the subway line, are you willing to pay for it? Was the implicit message. You know what the vote was in favor? 90%. It was overwhelming. So there is absolutely a role for government, a necessary role for government. But I think we have to think about what that role is, and I think it has to be scaled back. I also think that we have really serious problems with both our education and our healthcare systems. These are the two biggest line items that we have in Canada right now. Once again, I come at this as an educator, but I can't be blind to what is written in the Drummond report. Don Drummond, if people recall, was the economist who, basically is a liberal loyalist, who was hired by the Liberal government to do a discussion and really study about what was happening in the Toronto public education system. What he found was that even as the number of students in the system was going from 2 million to 1.9 million, there were 24,000 more teachers and administrators hired. At the same time, we have seen a persistent decline in test scores. We simply are not holding that department, I think, to the standard that it really should be held to. I believe right now that so many of our social systems provide all the wrong incentives. Labor markets are essentially incontestable. Once you have a job, basically it is yours for life, whether or not you are good at it, whether you are competent. Our tax code, we don't systematically think about how to reward economically productive behavior and penalize unvirtuous behavior. And most importantly, what STALD is really all about, and at the core of it, it really is a discussion of values. What do we value? Do we value the creation of productive goods and services of value? Do we value voluntary exchange? Because right now there is far too little of that production. There is far too little voluntary exchange. There is far too much, in my opinion, collective action. There is far too little individual responsibility.